1. Hey guys, it's Pat Largo, the creator of Pat Largo's Comedians Uncorked. Another great day here in Pasco County, Florida. And this is a man I wanted to talk to. We talked briefly on the phone maybe about a year and a half ago. We're doing some killer stuff in South Florida. And also a guy after my own heart, creating his own stuff and producing his own shows in South Florida. He is the producer of Spill the Beans Comedy. He lives in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Please welcome Fasil Malik. Thanks for joining me, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Pat. I really appreciate it.
This is a weird time, man, because me, like you, we're doing local comedy in our areas. I'm in the Tampa Bay area. You're in South Florida. And this is what we do. We want to promote local comics, great headlining comics that tour all over, and we get to book them as a part of our shows. First off, with this COVID thing going on and this whole pandemic, how are you and your family doing?
My family's doing well. They're up in the New York City, New Jersey area, so I'm fortunate they're fine. I'm doing well also. I'm just trying to stay away from people.
Yeah, that's it. I'm with you. I'm going to start suing the state of Florida for ruining my liver, because between people and what's going on here, I've been drinking like a fish. But now, real quick, with the COVID thing and everything down in your area, Marco Rubio and guys like that, how many people have died as a result from your politicians? I'm just kidding. That's fine. No, what? So what's going on, man? I know I've been on hold here in this area with our regular comedy clubs in the Tampa Bay, Orlando area and beyond, and of course all my shows at individual venues for Comedians Uncorked. What's been the scene down in South Florida with Spill the Beans and all the stuff you do?
Yeah, so in terms of doing comedy down in South Florida, it's we don't have too many independent shows right now because they shut it down in the past. But recently, both the Miami Improv and the Palm Beach Improv started doing shows there, I think once a week, maybe twice.
Okay.
And it's a lot of Zoom shows I'm seeing right now that people are running to be safe. I'm experimenting with a show next month at Fort Lauderdale at Kelly Brothers. So it's we're just taking it very cautiously to be safe, one step at a time.
That's all we can do. And I know with the improvs, I'm sure like the ones here and Snappers Comedy Club and Side Splitters in Tampa, everything right now is only 50% occupancy. So I don't know. You know, just with only, and I'm sure if you do something, it's only going to be probably 50% occupancy too, I would imagine.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it'll be like maybe 20 people if we're lucky because the venues are small. But I don't know, we want to try comedy. I'm trying to Zoom show also. I did that last week.
Okay.
And I noticed Zoom isn't as bad as people make it out to be, as long as there's people watching. So there's people watching and you pause on your punchline and then they obviously laugh. They better laugh. Then you're good. So it's a viable option, I'm starting to feel like.
Yeah, it's interesting when it comes to Zoom and Skype, and I mean we're doing a Zoom thing now, and it's like people have approached me about it. Hey, you're going to do that, or you're going to get some comics, and a couple people here in the Tampa Bay area did do shows literally from their living room and stuff. It seems like comedy, live stand-up comedy, is truly one of the only art forms, in my opinion, that you do need that live interaction, that live audience. It's almost, then it becomes radio. Like if we look in the camera and do our comedy, kind of like radio, you're hoping people are listening somewhere. So we're doing punchlines and you got to wait a second. Hopefully people are laughing and then kind of continue on. So I didn't dabble in that yet. And good luck to you for doing that and just doing anything you can to perform live stand-up.
Thank you. Yeah, I completely agree with you when you're saying live stand-up comedy, it's better with a crowd where people are laughing. With the Zoom, I saw the producer have it set up where you can have it, there's a crowd watching you. So when you're delivering your punchlines, they'll laugh after the punchline. It almost feels like that you're getting that live crowd. So yeah, it was interesting to see.
Oh, okay. All right. So you are getting that feedback and that interaction.
Yeah, so I have a paid account. So with Zoom, I can have up to 100 people watch. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get 100 people, obviously. But if I can get like 20 to 30 people on Zoom, then I'll get that interaction.
Oh my god, kind of like what I have on my ChatterBait account.
Yes.
Do dirty things on that. Now
I
listen,
know.
that's horrible. But listen, you got to pay the bills. Um, but well, listen, and I want to know, you got some funny cats down there, man. And first off, I don't think how many people know how many great, really great superstar comedians have come from Florida, and the South Florida scene. And I see you on Facebook, I see you on social media with especially with Spill the Beans. And you're a great comedian in your own right. But that South Florida scene, it really has blown up, man. You got, I know, the Jackie Sanchez comes to mind down there. Truly talented female. And what is that whole scene? Is it family like? Can you describe what's going on in that South Florida comedy area?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, South Florida comedy right now is broken into three parts. There's the comics from Miami that stick together and perform. I guess I feel like if I name comics, I'm like leaving other comics out. But then there's comics from Fort Lauderdale that are pretty good also, but they're not as prevalent as Miami. And then there's ones in West Palm Beach as well, and they have their little niche as well. Jackie Sanchez, I've seen her. She works really hard. She started like an open micer, and she just constantly went up, kept writing, kept grinding, and she's really funny. Julie Baez is really good as well. She lives in Miami. She's a funny comic. Jordan Garnett is good with crowd work. Yeah, there's a lot of talented comedians in South Florida that I'd probably take at least an hour episode to name them all and talk about them. So that's good observation on your part.
Yeah, thanks. No, I love it, man. I mean, that's all I got going on in my life is being unemployed and loving comedy, for God's sake. But I mean, and you mentioned women, and I got to tell you, I love it. I love it. I love it. The fact that the females, and not just in the state of Florida, we've got a bunch of great ones here. And I'll mention, Catherine Maloney and Tiffany Barbie, and there's a slew of them, and in Orlando too. But I love seeing these big time female comics throw it down, like on Netflix, on YouTube. When I watched Taylor Tomlinson, I mean, there's so many amazing female comedians that it's almost a shame we have to say female because they're just really incredible comedians. But it's great to see. I mean, I just love. Back in the day, I was never a huge fan. Like I didn't laugh as hard sometimes, but now it's just wall to wall. The women are giving the men. I don't know how you feel about it, but the women are giving the men a run for their money when it comes to telling jokes.
Yeah, I agree. I saw it firsthand in Ultimate Miami Comedian when Jackie beat me. So definitely, there's a lot of talented females out there. Yeah, it's good. It's. I mean, Sheena Reagan's pretty good. I think.
Yes.
Catherine Maloney's good. She especially sells when she's dirty.
She is. I hate to use the A word. She's adorable, but she has this great innocent look to her, and her name is Catherine Maloney, and it sounds very like Irish Catholic or something. And then she gets on stage, and what I like about it, it's not like forced dirty, like to be dirty. It's just her being her, and it's really funny. And if you don't, if you're a little squeamish sometimes, you might be like, "Oh my God, what did she say?" But I didn't know that Miss Jackie Sanchez beat you. Whoa!
Yeah, she beat me and Rudy Wilson for the Ultimate Miami Comedian contest. She's good.
Dude, now, real quick, you're from up north, right? Was it Jersey?
Yes, I'm originally from New Jersey.
And how long you been here in Florida?
So I've moved down to Florida for a job opportunity, and I live in New Jersey most of my life, so I want to change. So I've been down here for 12 years in South Florida.
Okay, now South Florida has a lot of porn companies. Was that, you don't have to tell anybody, was that the reason?
Yeah, no, I liked it was my med school job.
Okay.
They offered me a job, and I was just like, I wanted to take it. But yeah, I'm not really. I'd rather do comedy. That's my addiction.
Of course. And what gave you the comedy bug? Like when you moved down here and made you say, "Hey, you know what? I think I want to do this."
So what got me into comedy was watching Jim Carrey first, and he wasn't like punchline funny. He was just insane funny, and I'm just like, if this guy can do it, I can do it also because I liked him.
Right.
So I tried improv because that's what he did, and then I realized with improv, I'm not sure if you've done improv before or not, but if you've had it, you have a line and it's funny, someone will step on it and try to get that laughter. And I'm like, all right, well, whoa, I know how to do this. Let me try stand up. And that's really what got me into stand up. It's a good way to try to get women's attention too, I noticed. So those are the factors that got me into stand up.
That's cool. No, I've never done improv. I know it's a totally different technique. I've seen singular improv. I've seen groups. I've seen like teams. It's very, very interesting. And you also had a few awards under your belt. I know you're a pretty clean comic, and you've won a few titles, I believe, too, haven't you?
I have. I've won. I've won the Coral Gables finalist, Coconut Grove finalist winner. I've made it to 3 times for the Ultimate Miami Comedian. They got rid of it this year, by the way. I'm just like, great. And for World Series of Comedy, I had top 100 for last year. So yeah, no, it's just to me, I'm learning in order to get an award, you're not supposed to try to go for the award. You're supposed to have fun. And then when you have fun, if it's meant to be, you'll win. If not, then just try to connect with fans, build more fans, and talk to bookers and see what you can do to get in their radar.
And that's it. And like you said, have fun. There was one thing that someone taught me a long time ago. That was the one thing they said about comedy. They go, just have fun. Like, you're doing comedy. If you get on stage and the audience sees you not having a good time, like even if you're bombing, own it and just have fun, because everyone gets nervous otherwise. And it's like, sometimes I'd rather have a couple of jokes bomb and be self-deprecating to myself and get the audience back and then continue. Then some people might freeze. Some people might think the audience doesn't get it. And I don't know about you. I bet you're this way too. I always say, even if it's a joke I know works, for some reason, if I say it and the audience or most of the audience doesn't laugh at all, it's not their fault. It's my fault.
I agree with you completely. It's just, it's maybe the delivery was off for me, or I forgot a word,
right?
Or I got an additional word. Yeah, you're right. It's just you have to listen to the tape and just analyze it and just do it again.
Exactly, and that's a good point. Recording yourself, videotaping yourself, watching what you're doing. If a person is seeing this right now, they know you, or they're seeing comedy like you saw Jim Carrey, like we all did on TV years ago, and they go, you know what? I want to do what Fasil's doing, or I want to do what Jim Carrey's doing. But I want to do stand-up, but I don't know how to do it. How would you kind of get them into starting a career, or at least starting the process of getting on stage?
Yeah, so if a person's watching me and they want to do stand-up, my advice would be to just go to an open mic, because that's low pressure. Just watch comedians go up, see how they do it, and just put your name up and go on to it. Because when I first started, I was getting laughs, and I was thinking like this was cake. So I'm like, okay, I can just keep doing it like this. I don't have to prepare. So the next time I go up, I had this guy come with a camera, record it with sound. So comics are seeing me with this. I go up on stage, I bomb, I eat it so hard that I quit for 6 months. And he asked me if I wanted the tape. I'm like, nope, burn it.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't be afraid of that. If you're a new comic, you're going to have it where you're not going to get laughs. And you just have to keep doing it until people are laughing, and you have to enjoy it. So as long as you're doing those 2 things, you will become funny, and you will improve and get booked more.
It's like being a glutton for punishment, isn't it? Like you go up there and you go, wow. Like you said, the first time that went well, or you go, wow, that went horrible. Like that couldn't be any worse. And then you have to keep, that's the key. You got to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep taking those scars and keep taking the bombings. And then you start making people laugh and stuff like that. And you're exactly right. Do you recall your first date, the first date you went on stage?
I don't remember the exact first date. I just remember it was winter of like maybe November of I've been doing it for 7 years. So November 2012, I want to say, was when I went up. And I just, so when I went up, it was a small local comedy club. And this guy that bumped me, he was David Stebbins. He's one of the best comedians in South Florida, and he did really well. I didn't know this. I'm like, wow, South Florida has a phenomenal comedy scene because of this guy. And then I went up after him, and I was getting laughs, and I feel like probably him getting the laughs before kind of helped me with my set because they're more comfortable. And my jokes were okay. I don't remember them now. But yeah, that was my memory, my first time ever doing stand-up comedy.
That's cool. That's my was December 7th, 2007.
No way. That's interesting.
Pearl Harbor Day. And there was a lot of bombs going on that day, buddy. No, but I was like you. The first night, I had a little, in fact, I still have it somewhere. It was a little tiny sheet of paper that I had like 5 or 6 topical jokes that I wanted to cover. I didn't bring it up with me. I just made myself memorize it. I went up after a couple of airplane bottles of Jaeger when I was in the audience. The guy came to me and said, hey, guess what? We're running late. He goes, can you come back next week? I'm like, yeah, okay, no big deal. And as I'm walking out, leaving, he goes, and our last performer of the night, please welcome Pat Largo. And I'm like, I'm leaving. So now I sprint back to the stage. Now I'm all scared and confused because I was leaving. And I went back and I got up there, shook his hand. And I did about maybe 5 to 7 minutes, give or take. And I got laughs, and then same thing happened. Second time bomb, third time bomb, fourth time bomb, and then you start going and you start revisiting and you formulate your game plan. And you're exactly right when you talked about not preparing, how it's a lot more work than people think. You know, it just what's the name there? Birbiglia mentioned it on like a Comedy Central interview. He goes, oh, I've got my guitar. I'm doing my songs. I'm saying some jokes. I'm making people laugh. I could just go up and be funny. And he goes, no, I can't. So after you bomb a lot, you realize, oh, yeah, this is my job. Like, I got to do a game plan. People are paying money to come in here. I got to take it seriously, I guess, right? I don't know.
Exactly. You do. You have to. I mean, the best way to describe doing stand-up comedy is you're talking to a woman and she's rejecting you. Then you got to talk to another woman and you're going to keep getting rejected. But eventually you'll get that one number. That's what I think doing stand-up comedy is like as well. You just gotta keep learning from that experience and then improving. And then eventually you're going to get more people on your side and like your style.
Yeah, it's a good example. I like to do a punchline almost like a roofie. Just kind of slip it in there and see what happens.
You could do that. You could just talk to people randomly and throw the joke in there, throw the punchline, and if they laugh, and you try another person and then they laugh, that becomes a joke. So you can do that too.
That's exactly what I do in the meantime when I'm not hitting. And I've done a couple of open mics in the last few months before everything closed down just to get back to do it. But that's my main way to practice new material and sharpen old jokes. Not just friends who know me, who I'll say some stuff, but if I'm in a store, if I'm at the gym, if I'm somewhere and someone says something and I can work a joke in or a joke I've been thinking of, and like you said, if they laugh, I meant to make that mental note, and I'm like, okay, that's a keeper. Let's work on it. And but that's a great way to do it, man. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, doing it in front of comics doesn't work though. They're not gonna give you the best feedback.
Exactly. It's like being in a room full of comics on an open mic. I mean, you're going to get crickets or a couple of laughs, and that's about it. But no, you're exactly right. And that's another thing people who do open mics will learn as they do more and more open mics. Let me say this now. I know we don't have any, like my Comedians Uncorked shows are on hold. I'm going to get with the venues about that soon. I'm sure the same thing with your Spill the Beans comedy in South Florida. What do you say down the road when we get these fired up again? I would love to have you come to one of my Comedians Uncorked shows here in the beautiful Tampa Bay area. And maybe what's the chances? I don't know. I could scoot on down to Fort Lauderdale or Miami and maybe do a Spill the Beans show.
That could work. Yeah, let's just see how it goes with the venues, because I've lost the venue so far because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
So as long as their businesses are going fine, yeah, I'd love to have it. But yeah, you might want to check out on that too. It's just it's gotten different with COVID-19 now, doing comedy and just getting people to come out to shows.
You're right. One venue has already contacted me, and I was just going to say, hey, you know what? I appreciate the interest. I want to do it, but you just opened. Congratulations for reopening. You're only at 50% right now. Just, get your employees some work, get the drinks slinging and stuff, and go do your thing, and then we'll talk about it soon. I'm afraid right now it might be just, I don't know. I've never been scared before, but like I'm looking at between pandemic, looting, rioting, and protesting, and voting, and everything else negative going on right now. It's almost like, hey, who wants to do a joke? So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do comedy just yet. I don't know.
I agree with you. You don't want to lose money either, because if people aren't coming, then you're going to look bad. You don't want that.
I don't want that. So, well, Fasil, it's been fascinating having you with me here and just hanging out with me. I could talk to you for a long, long time. I look forward, hopefully, to get down to South Florida and sling some jokes with you, or even if I'm in the area and visit and have a drink or something.
Right.
How can people get a hold of Fasil Malik, either with Spill the Beans Comedy or just in general on social media? How can people become a part of your world?
So people can follow me. They can find me on my website, which is ineedfasil.com, ineedfasil.com.
Okay.
Or they can follow me on social media at Fasilicious.
Okay.
FASILICIOUS.
IOUS. Okay, Fasilicious. I like it. Well, man. Well, thank you so much. And I hope things go well. Like I said, let's keep in touch. I know we have our dream going on here. We're kind of running our own stuff, and that whole COVID thing got in the way. But I wish you the best of luck and get those shows cranking. And I hope to see you again soon, and hopefully have you back on here with Comedians Uncorked.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, Pat. It was good talking to you and getting to know you more. So I'm grateful for the opportunity.
My pleasure, man. Keep kicking butt down there.
You too. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.